Hey, all right, everybody. Now, I got a story in front of me. I wasn't going to do it, but I thought I might as well try and keep topical because I think YouTube likes topical stories. And this was in the news a couple of days ago. It was Wednesday, the 7th of February. It was in the news. And after it was in the news, the usual suspects grabbed hold of it. You know, the usual suspects on YouTube. They grabbed hold of it, made a video. I wasn't really going to make a video, but I thought, I think I will, because some people have had a funny reaction to it. Anyway, you obviously know what I'm on about because it'll be in the thumbnail. But I'm actually looking at an article from Sky News by here. Now, I've done a little bit of digging as well. And it says, Mr. Bean actor Rowan Atkinson is blamed for slow electrical car sales. Ooh, what a dirty rotter. Now, what it was all about was, I think I made a video about 5 or 6 days ago about the House of Lords talking about misinformation in the mainstream media. Now, this, if you stick with me, this is going to be funny, right? Well, I think it's funny. I think it's hilarious. Because people are trying to say it's nothing to do with me, misinformation in the main blah, 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 blah. I can't speak. Some people are saying it's no misinformation in the mainstream media, but it is. And if you stick with me though, right? And I'll show you in a minute why it's funny. Right, so what happened was the Green Alliance think tank, they told peers, okay, not Piers Morgan, by the way, the peers in the House of Lords. So peers, not peers. So the actors' views are damaging to the government's plan for phasing out petrol and diesel, right? And the point they were trying to make was they just used him as an example. And the point they're trying to make is that stuff goes into the media, mainstream media, in these articles, Daily Mail, and I'll show you where this article came from in a minute, and you're going to laugh. Right? So they were saying that articles like the Rowan Atkinson article are slowing down the uptake. It's like people losing confidence in it, and they're all listening to Rowan Atkinson. Now, I remember this happening at the time, and at the time, people were going, but he's just an actor. And then people were stepping in and going, they'd looked up his background and said, he's an engineer. Well, no, he had done an engineering degree years ago, okay, right? I doubt very much he's kept up with all the ins and outs of electrification of cars. The article starts off with, I love electric cars, but then he goes on to say some failings. Now, in them failings, it was like he hadn't done any sort of studying whatsoever. So he got an engineering degree, but you could chuck that in the stingies, right? Because he really hadn't sort of read up on, you know, the stuff that's now instead of before. He hadn't really read up on it. But the way he was speaking, in my opinion, okay? So that's what it was all about. They said, you know, one of the main obstacles is all these articles coming out and they're not really correct. Misinformation, okay? Now, I know anti-EV people, they don't like the word misinformation. They go, right, misinformation. And you could say misinformation is, he was talking, Rowan Atkinson, and just giving his opinion, right? But he didn't know the proper facts. So that's misinformation. He wasn't doing it on purpose. He was just giving his opinion. And, you know, opinions and facts are two different things, aren't they? Okay? Now, when you're in the public eye and you want to give an opinion, you really should have all the facts, shouldn't you? But there we are. Not in this case. Let me just check on you now. So that's what happened, right? He said in the article, I love electric vehicles, and then there was a but. I feel duped. Why does he feel duped for? Why is he duped? I don't know. But let's go to the article, the actual article in The Guardian, okay? So let me just find it on here. The article in The Guardian says, this is the headline, I love electric vehicles. I was an early adopter. So he loves electric vehicles. He's saying he loves them, okay? But increasingly, I feel duped, okay? And he said, sadly, I don't know why he said sadly for, sadly, keeping your old petrol car may be better than buying an EV. There's a sound environmental reason not to jump just yet. Now, the trouble is, and I'll reference somebody else, which I reference a lot, is my old mate, not Jeff. He always says keeping an old car, is better for the environment. And I agree, right? I 100% agree. If you keep an old car for as long as possible, it is going to be better for the environment. But it's not better for people walking down the high street when all the fumes of old cars are going in your old lungs, and then they're going into your bloodstream, and they're causing all sorts of problems. Okay, so having a clean, one of the reasons, the biggest reasons why I think electric cars are good, is because you have a less, you don't have exhaust fumes in cities or built-up areas or traffic jams. And also noise pollution. Noise will be quieter. Now, anybody who's going to argue and say that deaf people, I meant to say blind people, will get run over by electric cars make a noise under a certain speed, and also tyre noise. You can hear tyre noise. You can hear it. So anyway, one of the big reasons is cities, they will be cleaner. The air will be cleaner. I know there's pollutants from tyres and whatnot, but if you take away one of the things, is cleaner. Okay, so that's one of the big reasons. I was stuck in traffic the other day, and all you could smell was fumes. It's not very pleasant, is it? Okay, but I'm not telling anybody to get out of their cars. But what I'm saying is, if everybody kept their old cars, eventually there'd be no cars, wouldn't there? Everybody can't keep their old car, because eventually the cars conk out, and there'll be no newer cars to replace old cars. So. And all car manufacturing was shut down if everybody kept their old cars, wouldn't they? So he went on about blah, 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 right, in this article, right, about why he didn't like him, right? And this is from The Guardian, okay? And this was dated Saturday the 3rd of June, 2023, okay? So that was our article. And remember now, this Green Alliance think tank are on about misinformation in the mainstream media, okay? That was their whole thing. Misinformation in the mainstream media, okay? That's the point they were trying to make. Guardian article came out on Saturday the 3rd of June, right? I expect some of you know where I'm going with this one. Right, let me just find the other article. Remember, Saturday the 3rd of June, Thursday the 8th of June, right? 5 days later, the same newspaper, The Guardian, they run an article saying, fact check, why Rowan Atkinson is wrong about electric vehicles. And they went through the misinformation. So the same paper, 5 days, wrote one article saying one thing, and 5 days later, they poo-pooed what he said. Now, you will have the anti-EV people sticking up for Rowan Atkinson, but let me just go down. I'll scroll down, and I think this guy did mention what he said. And one of the things he did, this bloke is saying by you, is I'm going to get this person's name wrong here. Auk Hoekstra of the Eindhoven. I'll have to write the bio because I'm not going to pronounce it right. Eindhoven University of Technology. He's done very, very in-depth studies on electric vehicles and stuff, and you know, if they're greener than petrol and diesel cars, and how long it takes for them to be better. And I'd much rather listen to him, who's looking at the modern studies, than Rowan Atkinson, who's done an engineering degree maybe 40 years ago, whenever it was, maybe almost 50 years ago. But it goes by, it does say a few of Atkinson's other claims that are worth mentioning. And what was the one here? Oh, Rowan Atkinson, he claimed lithium-ion batteries contained rare earth metals, right? It's not rare earth elements, okay? That's the way you put it, right? And they don't. They're in the motors. Not in all motors. I think Tesla's, they're not. It's a different type of motor. Ones that use magnets. Rare earth elements, other ones don't. But he got that wrong. Remember, he's got an engineering degree. but he's getting things wrong. So he's saying things and they're not exactly right, are they? What else did he say? He said EV batteries only last about 8 years, yet he's given about an 10 years, sorry. He said EV batteries only last about 10 years. I'll put this up on the screen what they said. I'll try and put stuff up on the screen of all the things he said, because I can't read it all, because the video will be making long as anything. But he was saying things about it only last 10 years, but the more modern batteries coming out are they're going to last longer and longer and longer. I mean, some batteries do conk out after a certain amount of time, but then some are still going. It's the same as engines. You can't say an engine's going to last for 300,000 miles, because some last 50,000 miles and they just go poof. I was reading about 1 litre Ford engines, and they keep destroying themselves all the time. All the time, loads of them engines, and there's loads of engines like that have a short life. So, don't you think it's daft? It's daft, isn't it, that people they're blaming Rowan Atkinson for misinformation, then people are sticking up for him, but the article that run it, 5 days later, ran another article saying it was misinformation. So, I don't know. I mean, I haven't read the whole article. Maybe he did say some things that were true. I haven't read it all, because it's so much to read. But anyway, there we go. So there we go. It is misinformation, isn't it? The newspaper that wrote it, admitted it, because I think that Aouk fella, he showed some studies to them, or sent some studies to them, proving that some of the things he was saying was a load of old ghoulies. But anyway, I thought I'd just put my little 10 pence worth on that there. That, do people actually get their information from Rowan Atkinson and then act on it? I wouldn't buy a car. I don't think he'd have any sort of sway on me buying a car. Whatever car, if he said buy a certain car, I wouldn't go, oh, Rowan Atkinson said it. So, I got a bit defensive then. Like I got a bit defensive against Rowan Atkinson. I folded my arms. I like Rowan Atkinson. He's a funny guy. But he wouldn't sway me to not buy anything or buy anything. So I don't think it's not just him. I think it was just an example of misinformation. And if you lump it all together and chuck him in with the mix, that's what they meant, I think. I think that's what they meant. Anyway, if you liked this video, you know what to do. Subscribe, like, and I'll catch you in the next one. Ho ho!